Welcome back to CalebChicagoKitchen.com. Tonight we are going to be making heirloom tomato salad. It's going to have some seared skirt steak, fresh mozzarella, fresh basil, a little balsamic vinaigrette, and some spicy peppadews. So first things first, I've let this skirt steak sit out at room temp for like 15 minutes. I do that with every steak. I've salted and peppered the outer layer of it liberally on both sides, and I'm going to go ahead and put this into a pan that I've got heated with, just coated the bottom of the pan with olive oil, and I've got it heating in about medium heat. So, I'm going to start searing it. I'm using fresh tomatoes as opposed to cooking anything. I'm going to go ahead and wash my hands. Alrighty, so these are the heirloom tomatoes. Great find at the grocery store. Got a good variety. These are purple Cherokees. These are just, a yellow tomato, and then the rest are another variety, just like a red. I love them. They're knobby. They're different looking. Have kind of like tucked in ends. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut the core out. These bird beak knives work really well for things like this, but a paring knife suffices just the same. So just cut out the core. The way they're shaped kind of does make it difficult at the top, but it's fine. So I'm going to do, about probably ½ inch slice. Real nice big slices. I'm not even going to cut them in half just because I think they're beautiful. It looks like stained glass on the plate. At least at the edge, kind of. Go ahead and core the rest of these. So I'm going to core the rest of these, get them sliced up, and then we'll check on our steak here in a second. Okay, so these have got the crust that I'm looking for. Releases from the pan pretty easily. Just a good crust. It doesn't have to be crusted all over. They are fairly thin, so I wanted to still have some blood to them. So we'll let this do the same thing to the other side, about a minute and a half on medium-high heat. I chose cast iron because I think it'll give it a really good crust, and we'll check on them in about a minute and a half. Okay, so while our steak's finishing up, I'm going to go ahead and make our vinaigrette for tonight. So I've got about a tablespoon of honey and a cup of olive oil in here. I used a really light olive oil, and I'm going to do a few shakes of balsamic. You could use red wine, whatever. I think balsamic's sweeter, so that was about 6 shakes. Probably equals out to about a tablespoon and a half. And I'm going to put in, this is champagne mustard. Use whatever kind you want. I like different versions of mustard. I'm a mustard freak. And Dijon basically is the base of it, so you could use the Dijon if you don't have this. So let's do a tablespoon and a half. And again, that's going to emulsify the vinaigrette. Pop that back on there. We'll go ahead and snip up some chive. Well, let's see. Go ahead and whisk this together. Perfect. That is what you were looking for. So I'm going to go ahead and step up some chives. I'm going to kill the steak. Just to add. I like chives because it's not as strong as onions are. So you can get away with adding a little more. It's got a great onion flavor, but it doesn't, doesn't give me heartburn. Alright, it's about a tablespoon. Just put those right in there. I'm also going to season it pretty well. 2 good pinches of kosher salt, iodized sea salt, whatever you want to use, and then a few good cracks with black pepper. Perfect. Give that a whirl. And set aside. I'm going to go ahead and grab a plate just so they can continue to rest as opposed to their hot oil. They're about medium rare right now, which is where I like them. The thin ones, you know, they're obviously going to get done a little more, but it is what it is. I have people in the house who like steak pretty well cooked, so I can't always win. Alrighty, we're going to do a chiffonade of basil while the steak is resting. And basically that's just, people call it julienne, people call it chiffonade. I just make like a sleeping bag of basil, roll it up, and then slice. So, let's get some good leaves here. Alrighty, doesn't matter which way you put them in, honestly. Just kind of wad them up. And then roll it pretty tightly. So that's what you're looking for. And then thin little stripes. As it gets toward the end, it'll fray out a little more, but what have you. And there you have basil chiffonade. Alright, our dinner is coming to a halt. So let me grab a plate. I chose a decorative one. I think it'll show off the tomatoes pretty well. So go ahead and do different variations. To me, that looks awesome. And what better way to have a healthy meal than this? There are big chunks of tomatoes, but it is what it is. So I'm going to give them a little sprinkle of salt because that's really going to bring out the juices and intensify the flavor of the tomato itself. You can never have enough salt. Hee hee. I'm going to go ahead and slice up some fresh mozzarella. And this is just going to add like a really good fresh, chewy tang to the salad. I just kind of tuck it in every which way. Obviously my plate will get a little more, but nobody has to know that. Sprinkle a little bit of the chiffonade over the top. Tomato and basil, I think, have an amazing affinity for each other. Then, for a little salt burst. They're like little caviar pistils. They're capers, nonpareil capers. I didn't get the drained one, so I'll just drain them myself in with my hand in the sink. They're awesome. They pack a punch. So just sprinkle a little bit of those every which way on the salad. They fall where they will. Now that our steak is somewhat come to a rest, I'll go ahead and pick the well one for the person in the house wanting the well one. And with skirt steak, you want to cut against the grain. So I'm going to cut on the diagonal here. Just kind of do a little diagonal cut. And these are still, I mean, I would consider this medium well. Medium to medium well. So place these pieces of steak in throughout the salad. Just like little croutons. Alright, let me grab a spoon. Spoon over our vinaigrette. And there we have it. Before I forget, to gild the lily a little more, we're going to add a kick. We've got salt, we've got sweet, we've got earthy. I'm going to add a little kick. These are peppadews. They're actually grown in South Africa. They're part of the picante family, and they are great They're kind of like a cross between like a bell pepper, and I would compare them to a bell pepper and a Fresno, which is like close to a jalapeno. It's red. Go ahead and sprinkle these on there. They're not all that hot. It's really sweet and tangy. It's a slow heat. Alrighty, so here is our finished product. We have my heirloom tomato salad with seared skirt steak, chiffonade basil, fresh mozzarella, little capers, an added kick with some peppadew, and a sweet and sour balsamic vinaigrette. This is everything I could ask for on a plate, and I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. If you would like to see this recipe, go ahead and check out our blog at calebchicagokitchen.com.